it's Megan. Welcome back to the Wolterman Homestead, and welcome back to our greenhouse. If you listen, it is raining. There's a leaky spot on my papers. But it is raining. It is really peaceful in here. Like, today would be a good day to curl up in here and just read a book. It's about 62 in here. I don't remember if I said that or not. But it's just nice and quiet and just relaxing. And it smells like dirt. A fellow gardener would think that smells good, but there's just life everywhere. Both of these beds are filled with plants. It's starting to rain a little bit harder. But today I am dreaming of our garden this upcoming season and the beautiful things that we want to grow. Dreaming this gardening season, I have just created this big long list, and I ordered all the seed catalogs, and I've spent the time dreaming and circling everything and trying to cut down my list of what logically I can grow in our garden. We are going to expand it. You'll see that in this video. I took that video yesterday when it wasn't raining. So this giant rectangle that we have here, square, is going to be a melon patch. We're going to get some landscape timbers and landscape timber the outside, and then I'm thinking put down some black paper in the middle, but then grow melons here in this area. That way it'll free up the raised bed space. And then I thought about planting some sunflowers along here, or just kind of in a line as kind of like a flower fence, and then putting some landscape timbers here and landscaping timbers into a rectangle, and then getting some more T-posts and some more cattle panels and putting them in a straight line down the middle and growing things up them that way. The pine trees is just kind of an estimate. The pine trees, there's one here and then there's one beside me, are kind of our barrier to the neighbor's property. But this area and this area here don't get all swampy like it does over here, where we have fixed it a little bit, but there's still some more areas that need to be fixed. But that's kind of where we're thinking with expanding the garden this year. But we're expanding, and so that means we have more room to grow things and to harvest things, can things, preserve things, just everything that comes with that. So I'm just going to kind of share what we're thinking this gardening season, give some tips, talk about all these seed catalogs that we've ordered, and kind of go from there. First off, I would say there's a gardening tool that I think a lot of people are going to talk about. It is the Clyde's garden planner. Clyde had a booth set up at HOA where he sold these. I'll leave a link down in the description to his website where you can get your own gardening tool. We won this one from K&A Family Homestead. They had done a giveaway video and we were the lucky winners. But so these are really neat. You have a spring side, and then if you flip it over you have a fall side, and you have a list of varieties of plants on either side, and then you have your grow chart. So the red line is your last frost date, and then you have the months up here, and then this middle insert slides back and forth. So you would put that red line wherever your last frost date is, and then it would tell you when you should start sowing your plants, indoors, outdoors, and then I'm looking at it up in the camera, trying to, and then you have when your expected harvests would be. So that is on either side. This is just a really great tool that we will be using this year. You will also see a lot of channels starting spring gardens with colder, hardy weather crops. That's not something you'll see on our channel. If anything, I've got more room in these beds in here, and I will sow some more lettuces and maybe some more kale. We've got quite a bit over here already. But my family doesn't particularly care for the colder weather crops, so that's not something that I'm really looking into growing. I'm more getting ready for the summer garden this year. Another tip that we're going to do this year is journaling. So we're going to start writing down when we start plants, when we started seeing growth, when they started germinating, when we put them in the garden, just every little detail about each plant this year and how it grew in our zone 6A and just in our garden in general. And it'll help determine, you can hear the rooster, it'll help determine if we want to grow it the following year or if, you know, if it was a favorite of ours. But then to leave reviews and things for other gardeners online on that specific plant kind of in the zone that we live in. So let's talk about these seed catalogs. So I went ahead and I ordered, these are all free seed catalogs, except the great big one. So I signed up for several different ones. They're real easy. I can leave some links down in the description if you want to go and sign up for a subscription. Usually it takes like 3 to 4 weeks to get it in the mail. And like every day you're like, today's the day it'll come. So the first catalog here on my lap is Johnny's Selected Seeds. I didn't find anything in here that like totally caught my eye, but they have some really neat things. They have a really good kind of description of everything. They have really nice pictures, so that is an option. I know several people that have bought things from this company and really liked them. The next one is the Southern Exposure Seed Exchange catalog. Now there are some things in here that I will order. They sell mushrooms. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link up above so that you can check it out. We are in the process of trying to grow our own mushrooms. When we went to HOA, we were inspired by the guys that were there and want to try growing our own mushrooms. In this catalog, I would like to grow the garden peach tomato. It resembles a peach. They have 2 to 3 ounce fruit, and then they have like a peach-like fuzz, and they get yellow, pink, and color when they're ripened. I thought that was pretty neat. That's something that we want to do, is grow different varieties of tomatoes to see what tomatoes we like in our canning and things. And then I wanted to get some fennel, some feverfew, and then there were some flowers. I'd like to get some morning glories. And I would love for Dylan to build a trellis over here for the morning glories to climb up to add some color over here to the side of the house. So that is this catalog, and then we might look at some of their mushrooms. And then there are 4 Harris seed catalogs that I got. But honestly, you could just do with the one. Because this one is vegetable cut flowers. So like it has a lot of their varieties, and it has their flowers as well. I don't think I saw anything in this catalog that I was going to order, but in the flower catalog, that's another story. I circled several things in this catalog that I'd love to have that would just make our garden pop, make our front flower beds pop. That is another big project that I want to tackle, is the front flower beds. I just would love to have like a cottage garden feel. I'm thinking purples and yellows and whites in those beds up front. So we'll kind of see. If you are good at that, send me a message, because that is a new thing that I'm venturing into. I've always been one of those that goes to a flower shop, a nursery, or a big hardware store and just see something that looks pretty, and then I just stick it in the flower bed, and you know, the following year it doesn't look the way that it looked at the nursery, and I just don't like it anymore. So I just want to revamp and redo those beds. I also want to get some flower boxes for our deck out here, and I would love to plant this beauty in the flower boxes to hang down over the front or over the back deck, and then have some flowers behind it. They have a picture down here on the bottom. This is page 43 in this catalog, if you have it. So that's something that I would like to look into. And then there was another plant. It was yellow. It's the Cinnamon Rock Grow Boogie Woogie, but it's yellow and it almost looks variegated, but it's really pretty, that I thought would be pretty amongst the flowers that I've chosen. That yellow and green color. So that's this catalog. And then they also have an organic seeds catalog. I'm trying to think. Yes, I was wanting to grow their variety of green beans. It's a new one. How you say that, I don't know. I feel like it's like a French word, and I don't know French. So that's something that I'd like to look into. The green beans that we grew last year, they were okay, but they weren't my favorite. I have grown up on store-bought green beans that come in a can, so this would be totally something different. They're skinny. They have smaller seed pods, so I think that would be a good thing for my family and for the kids versus like your regular kind of homegrown green bean. Another one of their magazines was this Garden Trends magazine or catalog, and it was similar to the other ones. It just kind of has a different front, and then it had a lot of supplies in this one, gardening supplies. Then there is the Seed Savers Exchange. I liked it as well. What is this? Oh, they have a melon. See, my melon varieties just keep growing, I feel like. They have a cream Saskatchewan. It is certified USDA organic, but it has like a white creamy center that I had thought about growing. So that was something that I was wanting to get from them. And then they also have a variety of green beans that I was wanting to grow as well, which is the Climbing French bean. And they kind of like look like they have some violet colored blossoms. So that looks really pretty. Hey, it's quieted down with the rain. So that was another magazine that I had gotten. And then, of course, you have your Baker Creeks. Now this one is their free catalog. You can sign up for it. You guys saw us go through it in the Baker Creek Newlywed Edition video that we did. So that is this catalog. There are lots of things that I circled and want to grow out of here. And then they have their whole seed catalog, which ranges anywhere from like $9 to $12 depending on where you get it. I ordered an early copy, so I paid $9 something. But this catalog is just so massive, and you could spend days looking at it, circling it, highlighting it. So this is the first year that I've ordered this catalog, and I loved how much information was in here. Like, let's see if I can find a page. Oh, like the purple, I want to grow these, the king tut peas, but just like all the story. Like there's a whole storyline of, you know, how they found it. I mean, there's like, 4 pages about this specific plant, and I just think that's really cool. But this is something that I would like to grow in our garden this year. I've shared that I have a food allergy to peanuts, nuts, so peas, beans, things like that, they're legumes, so they're cousins, they're in kind of the same family. So when I can't eat peas by themselves, they make my mouth itch. Sometimes they'll make my lips swell up, so I'd like to see if growing them at home is any different. I don't know, maybe not, we'd have to see. But it's just an experiment versus, you know, buying store-bought. If it's the same, if my body reacts to it similarly. But like I could add it in like soups and things and it doesn't bother me like that. It's just in larger amounts where it does. But that is something in this catalog that we want to grow. But I mean, you could spend hours and hours and hours going through that catalog. My third tip would be plan it out. Plan out your garden. I spent an afternoon a couple days ago just drawing out my garden. Now, the front beds aren't necessarily to scale like the back beds are, but drawing out your dimensions and kind of getting an idea of how much space you have and then how much each plant takes in space, how much they need. And then just kind of, you get an idea. So then when it comes time to planting your garden, you're not overwhelmed. and you're not trying to figure out what goes where when. You have all these little plants, you know, that you've grown or that you've purchased, where if you draw it out and kind of put them in their spots, then you have a better idea. You can go in and not be so flustered or overwhelmed. And then on the back side, I drew the additions that we're going to have this year with our garden. Dylan and I measured all that out, and I will leave, you'll see that part in the video. The sun is shining. I bet there is a rainbow probably right now out there somewhere. And then my fourth piece of advice is, I will drop a link to this information down below, but it is thegardennowhow.com, and it is companion planting. That was a big thing that I got into last year in the garden. Companion planting helps in so many different ways. There's a great book, Carrots Love Tomatoes, about how different plants can help deter bugs or just help in overall growth by promoting other things, or, you know, what they absorb and what they give to the soil. So this chart that I found, it goes all the way from asparagus all the way to winter squash, so kind of in alphabetical order. So like, take asparagus for example. You can plant basil, parsley, marigolds, and tomatoes near asparagus, and they would help them. But it just kind of goes, it just rattles off cucumbers, corn, parsley, peas, peppers. Like, it rattles them all off, and then what things you can plant next to them. Last year, companion planting wise, we did a lot of marigolds. We did some sweet alyssum, which is really, really pretty. What else did we do? We did nasturtiums. This year I have several different varieties of nasturtiums because they're so pretty. But then you can also eat them. So like, if you want to add a little color to your salad, you can throw in nasturtium blossoms. You can throw in the greens of nasturtiums, which to me are spicy. But just make your salad and just make your food more colorful with an edible flower. So that is another thing that would be great. And I mean, I feel like we did pretty well last year with bugs. The biggest bug problem we had was the beetles. And then we did videos on the Japanese beetle traps, which did really well. But like, I don't feel like we had big aphid problem, things like that, knock on wood. We'll see how this year goes. But that's kind of, companion planting is something that I would totally recommend getting into and looking into more, because it's really neat. It's a really neat thing to get into. Now, this video is kind of long already, so I don't want to go into big depth, but I have this, it's 3 pages. 3 pages of things that I want to grow. This year, if you caught our live chat, our first live chat, we kind of talked about this, and how my list is really long. And I was talking to Dylan the other day, and I said, you gotta help me go through this and help me kind of knock down some things on my list, because otherwise I just want to order it all. And he laughed and he said, well, go ahead and order it, because, you know, seeds last for years if you keep them properly stored. And he said, we can always grow it the next year. You know, maybe the next year we won't need to order as many seeds because we'll still have some seeds. Or maybe we can participate in seed swaps. Or give seeds to family and friends. So I have a list. So kind of the newer things that we're going to grow is okra. And then I've never had okra, so we're going to do a couple different varieties of okra. The red burgundy, the clumps and spineless, and then the hill country red. If you have tried those okras and you kind of have an opinion of them, definitely drop a comment down below and let us know what you think of them, because that's new. We're going to try radishes. We grew some radishes in here, I think before we left for HOA, and they did, we got a few of them, not very many, like 1 or 2. We're going to try to grow some turnips and some beets. Those are 2 things I've never eaten before, along with the okra, so it would be new. I would love to grow some cucamelons this year. There are a couple of melons, which we had talked about on our live, that I'm not real sure about. One, to me it looks like a kiwi or a potato on the outside, and then the inside is green like a cucumber. It's the little potato cucumber. I think that's from M.I. Gardener. But I had thought about trying those, or M.I. Gardener also has, it's spiky and orange, but it is it on here? Kiwano? If I said that way right, Kiwano, jelly melon. It's evidently a rare thing, but I had thought about growing one of those as a different type of thing in our garden this year, but I've got several different herbs, all the flowers. If anything, the list is more flowers than anything. And then mushrooms. This year when we're going to plant carrots, we've talked about doing them in grow bags versus in our raised beds. We felt like last year in our raised beds, our soil is very clay. We are going to amend our beds and try to make them more airy and less dense. But we'll kind of see. That kind of happens over time with compost and amending. Each year, you know, you just try to get your soil to be healthy and as best nutrients filled as possible. But I just kind of think if we did them in grow bags with a good, like, I mean, I've really liked the soil that we used in our raised beds, but use something like that for growing carrots in bags. So we'll see. Plus, they'd be longer and maybe we would get better carrots than we did last year. So that's kind of a up in the air thing, but I feel like that's kind of, without going through and listing every single one, things we want to grow this year. I'd like to grow variegated plantain. There is a plantain video where I made a plantain salve, but just to have something new and add a little variety. That's kind of all that I have today out here in the greenhouse, and kind of chit-chatting about time-wise, because I can go on and on about gardening and things like that. So my question to you is, what is something that you are excited about in this growing season? Is there something new that you want to grow? Are you going to try growing things in a different way? Raised beds, you know, are you going to try potting? Are you going to do back to Eden? Like, what is your method this year in the garden? What is something new that you're excited or wanting to try? So drop a comment, that information down in the comments, and let us know what you're excited about this year. And then if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. YouTube has algorithms, and the more you like videos, it helps the producer of the content. So it helps their videos get better picked up in the algorithms. So if you feel the need, hit the like button, and then if you really like this video, hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss any more of our videos. So that's all. As always, take care and God bless.